the ones that we love.
Yeah.
Culturally, there's a conversation that I don't think we can avoid that partially has to be had. And we talked about first service a little bit. But you're a parent and you go to the doctor.
Oh.
Right? And because your child is struggling with gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
And the doctor ultimately says, well, you can have a daughter now, or you can have a dead son.
Yeah.
How do you react as a parent? And by the way, that's not just our parents wondering those questions, but our teens are going to school and they're being told those things about their friends.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that to unpack. For me, it starts with the idea that we've placed medical practitioners up on like the elites of the elites. Like as if doctors can't ever be wrong. And I don't think that's healthy. Because doctors are susceptible to lies too, especially cultural lies. And I think that this is a cultural lie. There are very few studies just because it's such new stuff, but there's one that I've read out of Norway. There's a long-term study, a 30-year study on gender dysphoria and suicide. And what they have found is two things. They found when people who are suffering legitimate gender dysphoria and allowed to process that without the intervention of medical technology or surgery, so they're not getting reassignment surgeries and not on hormone blockers, 80 to 90%, this is a secular study out of Norway, 80 to 90% of people who suffer gender dysphoria in their youth grow out of it by adulthood. Now, suicidality. What we're finding as a culture is post-surgery. So we have somebody who's suicidal. They're getting the surgery. Post-suicide, 5 years or more after, we're not seeing any improvement in their wanting to die by suicide and their mental state. In fact, what we're seeing is suicide is 19 to 20% higher. Rates of suicide are 19 to 20% higher among the trans community than the normal population. And that we have to ask the question why. And some people are going to say because of cultural acceptance and persecution. But again, I just want to be honest and have the conversation. Like, it doesn't seem to me like there's many more people groups who are more accepted and affirmed today in our culture than the trans community. You know, and it's an acceptable thing. Now, undergirding this all, my mind goes like this. When did it become acceptable, an immediate go-to to alter the body before trying to alter the mind? You see, what we do is we try to deal with the problem biologically, but I don't think it's a biological problem. I think it's a mental problem. It's a spiritual problem. It's a worldview problem. So why would we run to hormone blockers before we run to counseling or gender reassignment surgery before we try to alter somebody's mind in that regard? Yeah. So if you're confronted by this, if this is you in this church and your doctor is telling you this, one, and this is where you gave me permission, I'd get a new doctor. I would find somebody who's willing to at least explore. If you don't want a new doctor, I understand that. Good doctors are hard to find, yeah? I mean, they are, especially that are covered by our insurance, right? Even HADA, right? Get a new doctor, or have the conversation with your doctor and say, that's an interesting statement, could you show me the evidence for it? There's absolutely no reason why you can't ask for the evidence from your doctor for the treatment course of something that he's diagnosing. Again, they're just susceptible to the lies around as anybody else. They're just like you and I. They just have a couple more years of schooling. You know, and so ask them, say, show me the evidence. Not in a harsh way, but in a way that you get to the truth. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
And hold on 1 second, let me say this, because we do need to have compassion, by the way. It's truth and compassion. They need to go together. Because there are people who are genuinely struggling. And we need to, instead of condemnation, we enter into their lives in love, and part of that is sharing the truth with them and reaffirming them of who they are. image bearers above all else.
Yeah.
So we need to move towards these people who are struggling. You mentioned it earlier. Our battle is not against people. It's against ideas. We love and respect all people. We wage battle and war against their ideas.
Yeah.
We tear down those ideas, not the people.